Post-traumatic stress disorder can arise from any traumatic stress exposure. This can happen to anyone, but I tend to focus on our military. PTSD is classified as a mental health illness that affects not only the veteran, but the families of the veteran themselves. PTSD is classified as three main cluster symptoms: re-experiencing, avoidance, and hyperarousal. PTSD can also lead to other health issues such as depression and substance abuse. Symptoms such as re-experiencing are characterized by intrusive memories, nightmares, flashbacks, and a psychological and physiological reactivity to when encountering trauma or trigger cues. Avoidance is when a veteran is avoiding thoughts or activities reoccurring with trauma. The inability to recall aspects of the trauma, diminished interests, emotional detachment, restricted affect, and a sense of foreshortened future. The hyperarousal symptoms of PTSD often include sleep disturbance, irritability or anger, difficulty concentrating, hypervigilance, and an exaggerated startle response. PTSD also affects family relationships, mostly intimate relationships and relationships with children. Most veterans who do not open up to their partners are males because they normally don't understand the emotional feelings or thoughts they are experiencing, and have a harder time adjusting to the fact they're not in a war zone. This usually leads to issues between the couples because this hurts communication and intimate relations. Most males show aggressiveness and anger towards their significant others because they're the closest person to them. Another issue in the family is children. Typically younger children who don't understand why dad is always mad all the time, or waking up crying in the middle of the night. Though kids sometimes are the one things that help veterans pull through. Treatments are far and few between. For veterans besides prescription drugs. Behavioral conjoint therapy, or BCT, is a type of therapy that helps assess and adjust the veteran's behavioral setbacks. And it also is used to improve overall health in relationships and isolation. Another therapy is cognitive behavioral conjoint therapy, or CBCT. The therapy focuses on the family dynamics and helps the veteran understand how he is to adjust. Couple therapy is another form of treatment focusing on how the couples can overcome PTSD together. Veterans with PTSD are at a higher risk for medical problems such as heart attacks, elevated blood sugar, or heart disease. I did an interview with an Army veteran who suffers from PTSD. When I asked him how PTSD affects his everyday life, he says it affects everyday activities such as driving and sleeping. When I asked him about how he reacts in a social setting, such as a restaurant, he explains how he cannot have his back to the door. It has to be against the wall to where he can see everything and everyone, which helps him look for potential threats to him and others. When I asked him how he encounters a threat, he says, "You don't think, you just react." PTSD is a very complex and real issue that affects many of our veterans. Understanding why and how the veteran has changed takes time and patience, but also a lot of hard work. If you have a veteran that tends to open up, just listen.